Okay, so here we are. This is pretty much my entire Ultramarine army so far. As you can see, I've collected a fair few things, and I would say I've been building this army possibly over the past 3 years. Um, with work and study and a few other things, I haven't got as much as I would probably like to have gotten done, but I think this is a fair effort for the time I've been serious about the hobby. So I just thought in this video that I would, take you through my army, a few things that I have a bit of a up close look at a few of my models, and just show off what I've been working on. The Ultramarines, the Sons of Guilliman. As you can see, the Primarch is there, and I'll show him off in just a second. I will be zooming in and having a shot. So why don't we start off with these Assault Intercessors. So here's an Assault Intercessor from the Indomitus box. Try and get the lighting a little bit better there. There we go, yeah. And I haven't edge highlighted him, but as you can see, I've done some recess shading. On most of my troop, as you'll see, I haven't done edge highlighting. I might get around to it one day. I keep telling myself that, but honestly, probably won't. This is like a pretty decent tabletop standard, I would say, with recess shading, all the normal base colors, and I think it's acceptable for the tabletop, which is what matters most, I think. And so these came from the Indomitus box, these Assault Marines. Moving on. Here we have some Hellblasters. Same deal. This one doesn't even have recess shading. I need to get around to that. But as you can see, here are some Hellblasters with blue plasma. Fun fact, blue plasma I did using contrast paint. Which contrast paint did I actually use? Here we go. It was this contrast paint, Athematic blue. Fix that lighting again. 1 second. Sorry. Yep. So that contrast plasma was done with a layer of first Wraithbone and then Athematic blue. It's a nice effect. I'll show you another one. So there you get that nice, simple two-step plasma. Can't really beat it. Okay. Next up, we'll probably show you just a standard intercessor. So here's intercessor with some recess shading. Done the pouches on there, got all the simple base coats. I really need to go around to doing some extra details and some edge highlighting. But fun fact, the face here is actually done with Guilliman Flesh, I believe it's called. It's a contrast paint. Once again, Wraithbone, one layer of contrast paint. And it gets a really good flesh tone effect. I'm not trying to paint for a golden demon or anything. I'm just trying to paint to get these to the tabletop. And I think contrast paints for things that are fleshy or glowing like plasma, or even fleshy things, like I said, like faces and whatnot. Contrast paint does a really good job. So I've been doing that. Okay, what next? Let's move on to maybe my Inceptors. So these are a work in progress. I'm really happy with how these models are turning out so far. I yeah, I really love the Inceptor models. Something I do like to point out is I actually use contrast paint Aethematic blue in the jets here, and I really like the effect that brought up. The stands are just I tried magnetizing, it didn't really work, so I just drilled a hole in there, and I actually just sharpened the stand to a point, and I just kind of press it in there, and it sits nicely. It sits quite nicely, moves around. Sometimes I can actually hold it from the model as well. It packs down easily, transports easily, so it's good enough. One day I might think about fixing the stands properly, doing something a little bit more proper, but right now I'm happy with this. I definitely want the plasma Inceptors, because they can wreak havoc at this point in 9th edition with fall back and shoot for Ultramarines. So yeah, that's definitely a good some good shenanigans that I can pull with the Ultramarines. So let's move on to my aggressors. So I'm going to pull out my aggressor sergeant, one bolt storm and one non-bolt storm. So fun fact about these guys, I actually bought them and they weren't fully finished. So I bought these secondhand. They were brilliantly painted. They actually inspired the basing for the rest of my army as well. Didn't have complete edge highlights, and as you can see on this guy, he's got actually a heavy support decal, which is wrong. It should be a elite decal, so I'm going to fix that up in due course. But yeah, it's not codex compliant. Ultramarines would be very upset about that. So I'm going to be working on that. But yeah, love the aggressor models. They did get quite a strong nerf in 9th edition, but still beautiful models. Sometimes on those bigger games they end up seeing the battlefield. But what more commonly sees the battlefield these days is these boys, the Eradicators. Now these absolutely clean up on the battlefield. Yeah, these melter shots, D6 damage. Sometimes it can be, I think, D6 plus 2 if you're within half range. Great models, really reliable on the tabletop unless you roll like me. But yeah, I've spent some time and got some decent edge highlighting in on there. Yeah, they're not completely finished, but I think they're to a good enough standard. I really need to find a good leather highlight. I'm going to work on that. Sit down one day and do all my leather across my army. Okay. I guess while we're on the Gravis kind of train, might as well show off my Gravis Captain. Very, very happy with how this guy turned out. I know the blue probably looks a little bit funny on camera because of the lighting, but it is Macragge blue. I've been working on my cloaks. I think the cloaks are looking pretty good. Shoulder pad with the command stripe there, the yellow command stripe. Got all the decals, all the ones I wanted to put on there. Yeah, and overall, I think it ended up turning out pretty good. He's got the power sword. I'm going to do some better effects on this power sword eventually one day, because the relic burning blade I usually take on this guy. It would be cool to get like a red power sword effect going on there, similar to my blade guard, which you'll see in just a second. But yeah, overall, love the Gravis model. Still can't buy this guy on his own. This guy was only in the the No Fear and Dark Imperium box. Still can't buy this guy. So yeah, you don't see them very often because of that. We'll go through the rest of my HQs in just a bit. I might go to my Dreadnoughts. So this is my Redemptor Dreadnought with macro plasma. I've just kitted him out with that right now because that's what he's got on, but I can swap it out with the heavy onslaught Gatling cannon. Very happy with how this guy looks. Did the hazard stripes there on the cables there, edge highlighting, coat of varnish. This guy took a while to finish, but I'm very happy with the result. Once again, contrast paint for the plasma. yeah, really love this model. Love Redemptor Dreadnoughts. Big guns never tire. Duty Eternal. -1 damage. No penalty for moving and shooting. That's the reason why I have 2 of them at the moment. And I'm getting ready to get a 3rd. I know you can accuse me of being a power gamer if you want, but Ultramarines don't have many shenanigans, so I try and bring some strong units where I can, like a 2nd Redemptor Dreadnought. And this guy is special. This guy's not 2nd company like the rest of my army. This guy's actually 3rd company. And I had this idea of doing a Tyrannic war veteran Redemptor Dreadnought, but then it didn't really make much sense fluff-wise because Redemptor Dreadnoughts weren't really at the Tyrannic Wars. But then I, digged a little bit deeper. I was looking through the codex and I realized 3rd company are actually Xeno hunters. They specialize in killing Xenos. So I thought, what better model to have this supremely cool Tyranid being absolutely squashed by a Redemptor Dreadnought. He does not look like he's having a good time down there. But yeah, that's because this Redemptor Dreadnought, Brother Titus, he's been killing Xenos, and I think he got taken down, mortally wounded by a Tyranid, and he continues to purge Xenos in the Emperor's name, even in death, immortally entombed inside this weaponized sarcophagus that is a Redemptor Dreadnought. And as you can see, absolutely squashing the Xenos, the Tyranids down there. I just think it's such a cool model. I've never really done fancy basing before, and I thought, you know what? For this one, I'm going to do something a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more interesting, and I'm really glad I did because the effect with the Nurgle's Rot and everything just turned out perfect. And fun fact, I am doing a Tyranid army. I've got probably about 20-30 models, Gene Stealers and Termagants and whatnot painted. It's pretty much a fully contrast army, contrast dry brush, so it's going to be a lot more of a faster process than this very traditional edge highlight style, heavy metal style painting that I've been doing with my Ultramarines army. It's very time consuming, so I'm hoping my next armies that I have in the work will be a lot faster process. I think it will be. But yeah, that's my 2nd Redemptor Dreadnought. Okay, we might move on to my tanks, and then I'll finish off with my Blade Guard and my HQs down there. So let's have a look at my Impulsor. So I got this just before Christmas. The base isn't finished on it. Haven't put the base on it yet. But yeah, brilliant model. Really like the Impulsor model. I used it for the first time yesterday in a game against the Custodes, which my friend Julian absolutely wiped the floor with me on. But it was a fun game, and this Impulsor took my Blade Guard right here with a few extras up the midfield, and did a great job of just holding that central objective for a few turns. Wasn't enough in the end, but they died in the Emperor's name. They did their duty. So, but yeah, really like the Impulsor. 14-inch move. This thing just zips up the battlefield super quick. And the cool thing about the new tank that came out, which I'll talk about more in a second, the Gladiator, it actually uses the same chassis, and you can actually build an Impulsor out of the Gladiator kit. So when you buy a Gladiator, you'll actually get one of these as well. It's really cool. If you do it right, if you build it right, you can actually interchange them and have 2 vehicles in that one kit. One thing I'll draw your attention to is I spent a little bit of time actually magnetizing the sponsons, so I can swap those up for Fragstorm grenade launchers, because they don't just fit in neatly like some of the other sponsons on other vehicles. But yeah, really happy with this. I'm thinking about putting some battle damage on this. It makes sense that a transport vehicle zipping up the middle of the battlefield will probably cop a lot of fire and probably bump into a few things. So instead of having this classic clean ultramarine look, I'm definitely going to be hitting this with some battle damage at some point. So yep. Okay. So here is the big boy. So this guy barely fits in the frame. But yeah, this is my Repulsor Executioner. I painted it the way it's on the box with the command stripe there. This heavy laser destroyer absolutely cleans up. It's had a bit of a nerf recently, but in terms, it's not a core unit, so it doesn't get rerolls. What else? It's hasn't got a it's been kind of nerfed in a bit, and the points haven't come down either. At least not by much if it has. But it doesn't get rerolls, but it also got D3 plus 3 damage, so you get minimum 4 damage on the heavy laser destroy now, which is pretty good. But yeah, overall, this was the first tank I think I built. I decided not to put the cargo on there. I just think it looks cleaner and nicer. Thank you, Valrak. I just really like it. Neat tank. And yeah, it was great for practicing edge highlighting on. The reason why a lot of my troop and stuff aren't edge highlighted was because I didn't really have much experience. But I always say this, after edge highlighting a tank, it's a good way to practice edge highlighting because the lines are very obvious, the edges are very obvious. It's easy to clean up mistakes, and there's a lot of edges, so you get a lot of practice just by edge highlighted one vehicle. I also recess shaded it, so yeah, it did take quite some time, but I think the effect is really striking. The contrast is there, you can really see the edges, and it really adds depth to the model, so I'm really happy with that. Okay, so next I'll show you my blade guard. So these by far are probably some of the models that I am most proud of. I might even grab 2 of these here. Mainly because I have spent time doing marble shields. Very, very happy with marble shields. Let me fix the lighting just a tad. Yeah. Worked on getting this marble effect on these shields, which I'm really happy with. Also, these power swords. Got some like kind of blending work done following the Darren Latham guide to power swords, I believe it is. That energy effect. Really striking. I'm going to do it for all my power swords now. Like on my Gravis Captain over there, I'm going to do like a red and orange style, burning blade style power sword. Absolutely love the effect. It's really good. You might notice the heads aren't finished. White was giving me a lot of trouble painting by hand, so I ended up, and I know it's a bit blown out right here on the camera, but I ended up getting an airbrush, and it's the best decision I ever made, especially for painting white. Gets a nice clean layer on there. I might take this moment to say as well, if you're been a few years deep into the hobby and you're thinking about getting an airbrush and you can afford to do it, even if it's an entry-level $20 eBay, Amazon special airbrush, just do it. Honestly, it's not as intimidating as you think it is. Sure, there are a few things you got to learn. Sure, there are a few products you got to buy. But if you can afford to do it, go ahead, do it. It makes painting things so much easier. I don't have to go outside to do base coating. It's been such a great experience working with an airbrush. So now that these heads are done, I'll be finally like putting the recess details in and everything. But yeah, really loved doing the heraldry pads. I did some nice blending on the tabards there. And just like beautiful models. Now that my edge highlighting is a bit better as well, I need to clean up the base, I know, but now that the edge highlighting is better, my edge highlighting is better, I was able to get like a good effect there on the back of the legs. And yeah, just really love these models, and they perform really well on the battlefield as well. So yeah, they can ride around in the Impulsor and do their duty, so to speak. Okay, moving on to some HQs. So let's start off over here. Once again, didn't paint this guy. Yeah, I bought this guy in a bunch of bundle. I think the same bundle I bought those aggressors with. I got this guy. I did paint the stripe on his helmet though. I love the lieutenant helmet. It's so striking. And yeah, lieutenant, Primaris lieutenants. There's too many of them. We all see them all the time. I think this guy was like limited edition or something, or special edition. I don't know. All I know is that I got one. Chaplain. Yeah, love this model. Hey. Some people don't like the Crozius. I really like it. I don't mind it. Yeah, I'm very happy with how this model... I haven't painted Ultramarine symbol on him. I don't know, the blue... I feel like the blue and the Ultramarine symbol just kind of takes the grim dark away from what is an absolutely grim in the dark model. So I'm just leaving that there. I should probably get around to doing some inscriptions on his large purity seals there on his either side of his chest. But all in all, beautiful model. Very quickly painted. Should probably do some subtle edge highlights on him, considering it's a black model. But he doesn't see the tabletop too much. Not in the Ultramarines army. Maybe in a bigger, 2,000 point match I might bring him, or 2,500 point match though. But yeah. Plus, I have the Indominus chaplain that I want to paint up, and I'm sorry, but the Indominus chaplain looks just so much better. All right, this guy's not a HQ. But I will show him anyway. And neither were the Blade Guard, I know, but saving some of the best for last. So yeah, this guy's an elite. It's a Primaris Ancient. First time doing like a banner. You ended up using a decal for the number 2 and for the Ultramarine symbol, but everything else, the parchment on the bottom there and the scroll, the Ultramarine scroll, all done by hand, following the box art. Very proud with how it turned out. Was a little bit tricky, but ended up with a good result. Yeah, pretty happy overall with how this model turned out. Might not be the best painting ever, but it is what it is. I'm quite happy with the result. It looked great on the tabletop. Okay, let's do the final 2 models here. So we have Marnius Calgar here. Oops, sorry, bumped the camera. Yeah, we have Marnius Calgar here. Haven't finished the edge highlighting on him. Haven't finished this model entirely, actually. Just been busy with stuff, and he's one of the more recent models I've been painting. But yeah, cape is looking good. I prefer like that Screaming Skull. Sorry, not Screaming Skull, the Screaming Pink. Or I believe it is for the robes. I find just Mephiston red and a red cape, it just... I don't know, it's just a bit... It's not grim enough, I like a bit of a deeper, moodier color for these capes. Something a little bit more royal and regal. I find red is just a little bit too... See the red on his ropes there? For a cape, I just find it a bit too bright. I like a deeper, something that's a little bit more, royal. So, yeah, once again, face is Gilliman Flash. It just does a great job of flesh, that contrast paint. Just does such a great job. Did the hazard stripe on his head there. Oh yeah, I forgot. His head actually comes off. Magnetized. Yep, because he's got a helmet. Haven't painted the other helmet, but might one day. Yep, love this model. This guy's also a tank on the battlefield. It's quite expensive, but hey, he does his job. And last but not least, actually, we have still another one. Chief Librarian Tigerius. Absolutely awesome model. Had a lot of fun painting this guy. I think he was one of the first cloaks I ever did. Really happy with his cloak, how it turned out. Really happy with this stave, how that turned out, his stuff. First time I tried blending on a cloak, didn't turn out 100% how I liked it. I thought just throwing on Agrax Earthshade and like painting a thin layer over the top was going to work, and it kind of did. But ever since I painted this blade guard, I figured out how to create better contrast with some glazing and whatnot, as you can see in some more sharper highlights. But yeah, that's the hobby for you. You learn as you go, and you get skills along the way, and you get better and better. I managed to get his eyes with some contrast paint there and make him look all like warp chargy and whatnot. Yeah, love this model. Actually like Psychers, if you couldn't tell. But yeah, he does a great job. And yes, finally, last but not least, the Primarch Robute Guilliman, the Avenging Sun, Lord Commander of the Imperium. There he is. So, spoiler alert, and full disclosure, I didn't paint this guy. I bought him. He was cost price to buy him, so the price of model costs, I bought him completely painted. I thought that was an absolute bargain. It's brilliantly painted. I probably would have liked if he had his no helmet on, but hey, beggars can't be choosy. I love this model. Haven't put him on the tabletop yet. I don't know what it is. Haven't played a game that's fluffy enough, I think. And I'm a little bit competitive, and I don't think he's very competitive, especially like anything under a 2,000 point game, because he's a very expensive model, but he does have a really good profile. So I don't know, maybe I'll take him for fun next game. Yeah, but amazing model, amazing paint job, and yeah, can't wait to see him hit the battlefield. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much my whole army so far. I've got a lot I'm working on though. Let's move this guy over a little bit. Yeah, I've got a lot I'm working on though. And some of them things I'm working on might not be too surprising. For example, I'm working on some more eradicators, a squad of 6, maybe 2 units of 3 will be great, and maybe even 3 units of 3 would be great. A little bit OP, a little bit power gamery, but like I said, I feel like Ultramarines have some good tricks up their sleeve, but we don't really have a lot of fun shenanigans, and yeah, so we kind of just gotta find some good units and make them work. So why not paint some more Blade Guards, some more Eradicators, maybe a 3rd Redemptor Dreadnought, and just have fun cutting people up, melting people up, and charging up the battlefield with giant robots and smashing the enemy's face in. Why not? But yeah, so some more Blade Guard as well. And of course, I just had to, as I mentioned earlier, working on the Gladiator tank. I cannot wait to finish this model. It's a work in progress, as you can see. I do spray some of the pieces in sub-assembly. I just find it easier, and it looks better in the long run. But yeah, cannot wait to field this model. Yeah, it's looking absolutely great. So, yeah, that's what's next. Like I mentioned, this part of the model can actually come off and build an impulsor, as you can see in the background there. They actually are the same chassis. So it's just this top gun here, and this part of the chassis comes off, and then you can slip like one little piece, and the back also comes off here, and it's just like open back, just like the impulsor. Okay, so that's my army. That's where my army's at the start of 2021. Been able to get some painting done over the holidays. Work is quite busy this year for me. I'll be working, staying back a lot of the evenings, and doing a lot of work from home in the evenings as well. So I probably won't get as much hobby time in this year as I would have liked, but I think 2022 is going to be the year where I really ramp up the hobby, get my 2nd and 3rd armies truly underway. which will be a Tyranid army and a Necron army. And then one day I would really love to do an Eldar army as well. But for now, I'm working on my Ultramarines. If you're a fan of the Ultramarines, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it around if you want, any other friends who like the Ultramarines, and feel free to drop a comment or whatever in the video as well. I'd be more than happy to have a chat, or for any of you guys to ask a question about painting, about hobbying, about playing the game. Full disclosure right now, I'm not an amazing painter. I don't think I'm an amazing painter. I just love the hobby, I love the game, and I love the community. So I would love to be, answering any questions that you guys might have, and especially those of you who are beginners. But yeah, there are awesome, cool channels out there on YouTube. So if there's a place that I think could better answer your question, I'll be more than happy to share any resources or any other channels that I know of as well, because there are so many good ones out there. And it's a great community, the Warhammer community. So yeah, it'd be cool to join in the fun and just have a chat and talk about all things Warhammer, and enjoy this hobby and this community. So that's it for me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.